Hello and welcome back to the KCC channel. I'm Rob and I hope you're having a wonderful day today. Today we're jumping back into the ProRevenge archives. Our first story today comes to us from Miss Hyde is Back, Collective Revenge on a Leering Neckbeard. Let's jump right in. So, I work out with a personal trainer twice a week. The gym he works out of is one of those specialty gyms where people who train for major competitions like Ironman and or bodybuilding, powerlifting spend hours at a time, doing things that appear physically impossible to weak little me. It's a great place. Everyone is positive and motivated, and there's no pickup culture. Unfortunately, they recently hired a temporary nutritionist, a large, smelly, hairy, leering creeper named Frank. Frank is a strange mishmash of neckbeard and health nut. He loves wolf print shirts, but he always cuts the sleeves off to make them some kind of muscle shirt, presumably because he thinks his pasty, flabby arms qualify as muscular. He guzzles muscle milk and is always eating a Lenny's and Larry's complete cookie. There are 2 in a package, and one is a meal replacement for someone like me. According to the other trainers, Frank eats 3 to 4 packages during the 8-hour workday. He is unshaven, unkempt, and smelly. Sour milk and duck butter smelly. The first time I was so unfortunate as to interact with Frank, he was walking around the gym getting in the way. Remember, he's a nutritionist. He has absolutely no place on the gym floor. I noticed him when he got close enough to me for me to smell him. I was doing squat presses. He approached from behind me and leered hard at my butt. I stopped my exercise and stared at him in the mirror until he made eye contact and scuttled away. I mentioned it to my trainer, Danny, who grimaced and apologized. He's brand new here, and so far, he's not making a great impression. The second time I saw Frank, the owner of the gym, Henry, who is a really lovely man, introduced me to him and recommended his services as a nutritionist. This here is Frank. He's our dietitian while Melissa, usual on-site nutritionist, is on maternity leave. Have you had a consultation with him yet? I replied that I had not, and that I was happy with the diet plan Melissa had drawn up for me. Frank interrupted. I'm sure it could use some updating. Men generally understand the ins and outs of how bodies work on a much more in-depth level, considering we're the stronger sex. Henry looked startled. Frank, that's not at all correct. We've got people here who have made some hugely impressive strides towards their fitness goals, men and women. Melissa is a very educated woman and a fantastic dietitian. We're lucky to have her. Frank looked unconvinced and busied himself, scribbling his contact info on a business card, which he handed to me. Hit me up, he winked. I stared. If you need to update your diet plan. I looked at Frank. I looked at Henry, who looked vaguely troubled. I threw the card into the trash can and walked back into the gym. After my next session, I was in the women's locker room when one of the female trainers, Ashley, stormed in and started ranting. That guy is such a piece of crap. Hi Ashley, I'm good thanks, how are you? Seriously Hyde? Okay, so not good? Do you know that guy Frank, the nutritionist? Yeah, he's a creep. I was doing paperwork in the office and this jackbutt just spent 10 minutes effing nagging me, whining that none of the girls here would give him the time of day, and bitching that nobody liked his diet plans, and kept asking when Melissa would be back. I was ignoring him, so I thought he'd finally gotten the message when he stopped talking, but then he started playing some kind of weird anime adult material on his phone. When I turned around to yell at him, he just said, oops, forgot to turn down the volume, and effing smiled at me. That's disgusting. Did you tell Henry? Henry's on vacation for 2 weeks. I wrote the entire incident out and emailed it to him, but holy F, I'm so grossed out right now. Ashley stormed off to shower. I finished packing up my bag, grabbed my cell phone, and walked out of the locker room. Absorbed in my emails I didn't see and therefore collided with Frank. He responded by falling into me and putting both his arms around me to catch himself. Whoa, haha, that was almost bad. I felt the same way I do when I know there's a effing spider on me, except worse. I shoved him away forcefully. He stumbled backwards. What the F do you think you're doing? Putting your hands on me, I shouted. The gym was silent. Everyone was staring. Frank turned white, then red. Ease up, it was just an accident. Jeez, relax. Overreact much? Danny materialized next to me. I think it's best if you stay out of the gym and away from the locker room doors from this point on, Frank.
I work here too. I can go where I please.
You're the nutritionist, Danny used air quotes. My fury was interrupted briefly by the desire to giggle. There's no need for you to be on the gym floor. Go back to your office. When someone wants you, they'll come to you. Danny is not a tall man, but he's very confident and commands a lot of respect. Frank looked uncertain before glaring at him, spitting out something unintelligible about lunkheads and stomping away. I told Danny I was really uncomfortable around Frank. He apologized and said he would speak to Henry when he returned. Frank was quiet for a while. Everyone eagerly awaited Henry's return. The women in the gym studiously avoided interacting with him. The atmosphere was uncomfortable. Last Friday, I realized I had a message in my other inbox on Facebook. It was from Frank. The idiot didn't even bother making a fake account.
Hey, you there? I just saw you this morning. What's up?
Do you know how incredibly inappropriate it is for you to look up and contact clients from your job on social media unsolicited?
Facebook is for everyone, sweetie.
My Facebook isn't, which is why it's private. Don't contact me again.
Oh, come on. Why are you such an uptight bee? We could be friends.
Absolutely not. I would rather associate with a genital wart.
God, all the women at this gym are so effing princesses.
Leave me alone.
Come on, girl, I'm a really nice guy. You just have to give me a chance and I'll show you.
And he sent a pecker pic. Oh look, a picture of your pecker. I'm shocked you could find it. Has Henry seen this? Contact me again, and this whole conversation goes to everyone on your friends list, including your mother. Link to his mother's Facebook page. I blocked him, screenshotted the entire conversation, wrote up a detailed list of the times Frank had made me incredibly uncomfortable, including the one Henry was witness to, attached the screenshots, and sent it to the gym, CCing Danny. Danny called me. I'm so incredibly sorry, Hyde. That is not the norm here, I promise. I have no problem with you or anyone else at the gym, Danny, don't fret. I just wanted Henry to be aware that he's talking to clients like this. Okay, I understand. I absolutely support you calling him out like this. I can't apologize enough. Henry came back Monday. My session with Danny was Tuesday. He looked like the cat that got the canary. While he tortured the life out of me, he told me the news. Frank had been off since Monday to return Wednesday. Therefore, he had no clue that Henry had come back to an inbox full of complaints about Frank. Complaints ranging from general discomfort to harassment. Screenshots of conversations like mine, some of which indicating he had pilfered phone numbers and emails from company records to contact people. Ashley's report of his inappropriate behavior, even a few demands for gym dues to be refunded because people absolutely would not be returning. People were not effing having it, and all these emails were after almost every one of his trainers had come to him with some kind of concern regarding our bearded boy, Frank. Now, Henry is a darling man. He's an old cowboy the size of a fridge and missing 3 fingers on his left hand. He's got the biggest smile for everyone and a handlebar mustache to rival Sam Elliott's. He's an absolute teddy bear until you piss him off. Danny reported that Henry had lost his crap. There were fountains of expletives. There was a hurricane of profanity. 1 or 2 decor items in the office were broken. The outburst was epic, but nobody thought to record it on the sly, so I have no idea how epic it truly was. Henry then calmed down, booted everyone out of the office, and supposedly set to work smoothing things over with the clients who were intent on leaving. I left after attempting to switch my Thursday session to Wednesday so I could potentially watch the fireworks. No dice. This morning, I got to the gym and was relieved to see it still standing. I found Danny. He gave me snippets of the story between sets pushing the sled. I hate that effing sled. Frank had strolled in for his shift, clueless as anything. Ashley and 2 other trainers were speaking with Henry, who was manning the front desk. Henry smiled widely at Frank and invited him into the gym for a team meeting. Frank suspected nothing and came willingly. Henry gathered everyone to the center of the gym and proceeded to loudly and publicly list every single one of Frank's offenses. Most of them started with, "This mother effer," and ended with, "giving me and my business a bad effing reputation." Danny said that Frank was white as a sheet. Then he turned red and redder and redder. Some people were actually becoming concerned that he'd have a stroke. By the end of Henry's speech, Frank was nearly purple. He turned to Frank, who he had not looked at once for his entire delivery, and said, "Now get the F out of my gym, you are fired. I will tell every darn gym owner and contact I know that you're a disgusting piece of crap." Frank fled. Needless to say, the gym is back to its positive, motivational, and comfortable self again. I may just be a reasonable person because I don't understand how you go from, "Oh, this person wants me to leave them alone," to, "Hey, I should send them a picture of my dick." Now, while I don't think it's normally appropriate to fire somebody in front of everybody else that works there, in this case, I'd say it was completely deserved. Do me a quick favor, have a look down below the video. If that subscribe button's still red, it means you're not actually subscribed to the KCC channel. Please hit that subscribe button for more daily Reddit stories. Our next story today comes to us from Harry Sucks. Don't send nudes on your company phone. If you do, don't tell anyone about it. If you do, make sure you don't tell someone who doesn't like you. If you do, delete the nudes before you hand in your phone to the IT department. Let's jump right in. So I used to work with this man named Michael. Michael was a sycophantic yes man who had no real skills required for our job, but faked it well for a few years. When I was hired, Michael was the regional manager. Though he was very friendly to me in the days leading up to me joining, he was apparently telling all of the employees that I was only hired to come in and clean house, that I was not to be trusted, and that everyone should go to only him for everything. It took me a few months for people to realize that I wasn't the monster he set me up to be, and that I was there to help. Once the employees knew I wasn't the bad guy, they came to me for everything. Michael did not like this. Skip forward a few years, there's been some pettiness and some clashing, but Michael and I are at a point where we can work together civilly and generally stay out of each other's way. Unbeknownst to me, Michael was very much not doing his job, and the company decided to hire someone to replace him, Charles. However, because my company believes in second chances, Michael was allowed to step down to a lesser role. Charles came in, he and I clicked right away, and Michael faded into the background. Now, Michael's wife was not very impressed with this demotion. Some bad crap went down, fights were had, and finally, a divorce was announced. Michael decided that at the ripe old age of 45, he was going to jump right into the online dating world. He had a new date every 2 or 3 days, was constantly bragging about the girls he was going out with, but never seemed to realize that he only ever had first dates. No one apparently wanted a second. During this freewheel and free-for-all, Michael apparently met a girl on Plenty of Fish. They hadn't met but were talking and flirting all day every day. After about 2 weeks of Plenty of Fish girl, Michael started complaining about money. He'd be on the phone with some company or another, paying a late bill or setting up a payment plan. He would ask constantly if we could order pizza for one of the teams and then eat that. He started looking pretty bedraggled. One of Michael's female friends from work started complaining to me that Michael was always asking her for money. When I asked why, she said Michael was sending money and paying bills for this Plenty of Fish girl. I was a little surprised. They'd never met. He didn't have much money to begin with, and lending money is always a weird situation. The friend later told me that Michael had sent some suggestive photos to the girl and that she was holding them over his head. This didn't really sit right with me. I mean, he's not married, he's not famous, he's not high-powered, so what could this girl ruin in his life? The only thing he has is this job. That's when it clicked. Plenty of Fish girl had to be someone from work. Around this time, I got a spam email telling me that the sender had explicit photos and videos of me, had been tracking my phone, knew what type of adult material I watched, and had hacked into my camera to watch me while I watched it. Such videos and pictures do not exist, and I'm not a grubby teenager. If I'm going to watch adult material, I'm watching it on my TV and making a night of it. The sender threatened to release the evidence if I didn't send $700 to some account they had. I knew right away it was spam, so I gave my phone and computer to IT to make sure there were no viruses. After getting the all clear, I decided to have some fun. I went into Michael's office, which he shared with 2 other managers, and shut the door. I told them that I was really freaked out that someone was blackmailing me and didn't know what to do. I gave Michael my phone so he could read the email, and his face turned white. He looks up at me, eyes wide, and whispers, "Oh my God, you too?" I asked what he was talking about, and he told me that someone had stolen pictures from his phone and was threatening him and that he'd already sent them money. I kept a straight face and said, "Oh my God, that's horrible. You should give your phone and your computer to IT to see if it's a virus and they can track anything down." The man jumped right up. He bolted into IT, told them that he thought he had a virus on his phone, and handed it over. I about died. Over that weekend, we received an email asking us to bring in any company-issued phones or computers for an antivirus update. I didn't think much of it, made sure I had my stuff, and reported to work on Monday morning. When I went to turn in my stuff, my manager laughed and said it wasn't necessary. I asked why. Apparently, the email had been a ruse so that Michael would bring in his equipment. Y'all, when IT searched his company phone that day, he asked them if he had a virus. They found pictures, videos, you name it, of Michael. They looked at the texts and the emails and realized it wasn't spam, and that the name on the email account he had sent money to was shockingly similar to the name of one of our employees. Michael had been finessed, catfished, bamboozled by an employee. He was fired that day for misuse of company equipment. If you hadn't tried to get me fired 3 years ago, Michael, I wouldn't have effed you over what I knew was spam, and you'd probably still have a job. Now, OP added a couple of edits onto this one. The first one says, "I don't know who the employee was who was blackmailing him. I know it was a female, and I know the person doesn't work here any longer, but that's it. I don't have enough clearance to know who it was. I do not condone blackmailing and absolutely think she should have been terminated. I just don't have details on her." The second update says, "Wow, the Men's Rights Brigade has found the comment section. Y'all, I'm not Michael's boss, nor have I ever been Michael's boss. I had no power or control over whether the man got fired, nor was that my intention. My intention was to mess with him over a coincidental email I received. I left out the parts where I approached my manager and told him that I thought Michael was being blackmailed, and that I thought it might be by an employee. I gave as many details as I could, but since I had no evidence and Michael never approached the manager, they couldn't do anything about it. I don't like the guy, but I'm not rooting for him to be blackmailed, and did what I could to try and fix that part, being that he never told me himself it was happening." This story is about how a man who effed with me for years decided to send pecker pics from his company device, how I got a spam email somewhat similar to what was going on, and how Michael took that knowledge to turn himself in for misuse of company equipment. It's not about me going out of my way to get someone fired for a 3-year-old grudge. It's not about me blackmailing him. It's not about me kicking a man while he's down. So, I don't know about you guys, but I'm feeling like we didn't get the whole story here. What happened to the catfisher? We only heard what happened to Michael, and I actually kind of feel sorry for him. I mean, not completely, but he did get screwed. Check out both OPs linked in the description down below. I thank you for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you tomorrow.